By how many people have not done it?
I haven't done it yet, Akeem.
Haven't done anything. Okay. Anybody else?
I done everything except for the name change.
I'm asking about the name change. I don't know what the everything else means. The name change. Who has not done the name change? That's what I'm talking about.
I haven't.
All right. All right. So this is some of you have had issues with doing it and it's gotten denied for some reason or another. Only thing I can say with the denials is you could either go somewhere else and do it. Some people have got denied in the where they first did it, and then they went somewhere else, where else, and they got it and they went through. Or you could just appeal that decision. So that means you would have to look up the rules in your local district and find out what how to do an appeal. They usually have little templates for you fill out. I think I even have it how to do an appeal that my son did a few years ago. How to do one, but it's very simple to do an appeal. You just put a notice of appeal. Um, you could say it verbally after they turn you down, but they do want it written and put notice of appeal. You got 30 daddy are being sacrificed. And that's if your stuff's not available, they can't hear it. Sometimes you gotta feel your way through the dark, and I struggled all the way up into the minute. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all you guys.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent it. The information station changing the nation.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Level Up Thursday with Karin.
Hello, everyone.
Hakeem. How's everything going?
It's great. How are you?
I'm doing
How's your
good.
week?
Every week's going good. I screwed up today. I don't know if Steve told you how everything got. I deleted everything. We was trying to fix something.
Uh-oh.
And messed up everything.
Oh,
Let me talk about what's going on Saturday first.
okay.
So there's covering my face. So there you go. The public versus private webinar. It is Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4. We're going to talk about nationality correction injunction process, name change process, national passport process, private trust, private banking, discharge, and UCC filings. You can go to my website, akeeml.com, akeemel.com. There is a link. This link I have on this page will take you to the same place, but just make it easier yourself. Put akeeml.com on there and register. It is the space is limited, and a lot of people have already signed up. I can only teach, but so many people at a time. After I get to a certain amount of people, I shut it down. So go to my website, sign up. If the link is still there, you can get in. All right, that takes care of that bit of business. Now, today's topic is going to be
How to overcoming your fears and anxiety. I thought about it. I mean, since our last show, I was thinking, okay, what is going to be the topic for next show? And your show on Tuesday, as I shared earlier, confirmed that this is the topic we need to talk about. So
fears.
hopefully, first of all, our mic is good and sounds is good. And if someone can let us know in the chat before we going in,
Yeah,
even
I
check
think it's
that
great
earlier.
to see King Bay haven't said anything yet.
Okay, so hopefully
Yeah,
we are good.
text and said anything. I got the volume on average there, so I think we're doing good.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
So my question is, where do you think those fears coming from and anxiety? Like,
um, I guess it depends on the situation. Like, if you have a fear, um, like if you never done something, like some people have a fear of speaking in front of people, public
mhm.
speaking. That's a fear for some people. I mean, tell you the truth, I think everybody has when it comes to public speaking, I think everybody has the fear, but just some people manage it better.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, he said the sound is good. Believe it or not, I have a fear right before I do a seminar. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have, what am I gonna do? That usual doubt comes in and I have to run it off. How am I gonna start it off? And I just start. And then it always turns out good. It's just fears come from worrying about the outcome,
Mm-hmm.
whether you do good or not, things like that. So,
Yeah. So I want to take you back to my high school because I think it's well. Of course every situation is different, but for me in high school, I had fears from exams, from the final exams, because what is the teacher before the exams? Because I used to get like a low grades. Back then, it was like when you get 55 below, that means that you failed. And
mm,
if you get 56, that means that you passed the test. I don't know how is it right now, but as growing up and the teacher saying something to you that kind of makes you have this little anxiety before the exam, and it build up with in the years of growing up, that you have some type of fears of exams, and
right.
it can start from school, even from kindergarten, or like you said, we born into that system of that people program in your mind, that they're telling you don't do this and don't do that, but if you don't do this, something might happen to you, or something like if you don't go to church or you don't go to the synagogue. And I'm going to share with you two verses from the Bible that I found it actually what is actually fear.
Mm,
What is that where is it coming from? Because obviously it comes from somewhere, and you actually took it with you, and you start to believe in that, like you
mm.
said, public speaking. I know I still have those. I exchange the fear with excitement before we go on a show. You're doing it for 10 years, I'm doing it for a month, and I still
Thanks.
have that a little bit of a fear of what's going to happen. What if I'm gonna mess up, when I'm not gonna say the right words, and then my English is not gonna be that great. So I think
Right.
that it's but your show on Tuesday, I must say, confirm that, because you talked about if you don't know where this person coming from, or you don't know his journey, and you don't know what he's been going through or been through, if you don't have something positive to say,
Mhm.
just don't say it.
Right. Right.
Because if you want to encourage, because your words very powerful, when they come up, they can either build a person or can destroy a person or
Mm,
yourself.
mhm.
So if you don't have something positive to say, and I think I grew up on some people that might scared me a little bit, and I had that fear of what if I'm not good enough, or what if I'm gonna go and speak, and I have those. It's not anxiety, because I don't think I ever experienced anxiety, but as far as fears, I've learned how to manage it, but it's come from my childhood as
Mhm.
growing up. So, excuse me, that's why I'm like, where does the fears come from? What is your opinion about, if you're going back,
Mhm.
about what is that? What do you think about? Where does that come from?
I mean, society gives us fear. The
Yeah,
societal structures or how they say we should be gives us a fear. Like, for instance, you use the exams, right? Was the exam is what you were scared of?
no, I
Wasn't
think
that it was how whether you were gonna fail or not, and what was expected of you, not living up to the expectations of what the school or your parents wanted. That was
exactly,
right.
exactly, that's
Okay, I failed.
exactly.
You look past that and say, okay, they're gonna be upset and I have to talk about this. That's what created the fear. That's where your real fear derived from.
Mm-hmm.
So most of our fears that we have are derived from external sources because we don't come into this world with fear. Think
Right.
about it. When a baby comes into the world, it's ready to stick his hand in the socket. It's just ready to do. It's gonna do all kind of dangerous things. Why? It has no expectations of anything harming them. It doesn't come in with the expectation of something is here to destroy me or hurt.
Mhm.
There's something that could potentially take my life. Has no concept of that.
Mhm.
So that shows how we come into this world pure, because where we come from, the real source, there is none of these things we need to worry about.
Mhm.
So here we have to be programmed with information to survive this environment, this hostile environment that we are in. Is because it can be hostile. You know, you could drown
Mhm.
in water, you can get burnt by fire. All the time, something could just fall on your head. So, get attacked by a wild animal. So you have to be programmed with certain things. And okay, if you get in this realm, in this dimension, you have to be careful about certain things. So all of our fears are taught to us different ways. You
Yeah.
know, how our parents react to something we do. Don't do that. You know, they get excited and they put incitement into you.
Mhm.
Um, so I saw this TikTok video. I don't know, maybe it was Instagram, where someone used one of those facial changing things, and they let their baby look
Oh,
themselves, and it
yeah.
changed their face to look like a monkey.
Yeah.
Immediately, the baby was happy, and then when it saw this, how it looked in this thing, it became very sad. Now, they were showing it as a joke how the baby reacted, but that baby's consciousness took that very serious. See,
Yep.
that's a program. Now, that child is going to forever have a locked-in image, a false image of how they look because of this app that changed the way the child looked.
Mhm.
A parent did that to their child, programmed this look to be able to look at themselves and not be pleased. See, these are all, so that's going to be another fear of how they
Mhm.
look, going to create identity issues. Uh, People are really not conscious of what they're actually doing to their minds and to the people around them.
Right.
So,
There is also an app that show you how you're going to look when when you be old.
right,
So you change your face. So that, like you said, is start to messing with your mind about this is how I'm going to look in 30, 40 years, 50 years. And
programming your mind to look old.
yeah, yeah,
I really think that there's a possibility we may not die or get old. Only reason why we do these things because we've already have it in our consciousness that we do get old and die. It's
right.
already locked in. It's been programmed since because a child doesn't think about. Think about when you were young. You didn't think about mortality or death or anything. You just did things. And as
Mhm.
you got older, features started to change. Then you see people passing away. You started to adopt those same thoughts, and now you're just conscious of dying all, a lot of times. The older you get, people get more conscious of it,
Right.
you know.
So I think the words that coming out of your mouth is, as a parent, I'm not a parent yet, but as a teacher too, my mom was a teacher. I always told her, like, say something positive to your students. If they fail at an exam or they're not good at something, it doesn't mean they're not going to learn or they're not going to be good at it. They're just not there yet. And
Right.
there was an experiment. I think her name was Carol something. She did it on Chicago High School, where instead of telling the student they failed, she said, "You're not there yet."
Right.
So they didn't think about themselves as a failure.
Failure.
Because if I was always failing on my exams and I wasn't getting there, and my grades wasn't, it doesn't mean that I'm not smart.
Right.
But at the same time, when someone makes you feel like you are and you see everybody's success,
Right.
all the grades goods up around you, but you're not, so it just kind of makes you feel like you're not good or you're a failure. And here's a good example. I think I told you I worked in North Carolina, in this mall. Which one?
You said was it Charlotte or
Charlotte, North Carolina,
right?
and he had a kiosk, and I couldn't sell the whole day. I couldn't sell. I don't know what happened. Every demonstration, I just didn't sell. I closed on zero. And
Mm.
at the end of the day, he came up to me and he says, "Oh, Karin, you're loser zero. You close zero." And I look at him and I said, I'm not a loser only because I didn't close a sale, but imagine saying that to someone with no sell experience,
Mm-hmm.
and you can literally take his confidence from 100 to 1 in 2 seconds
Yeah, by saying something like that.
by saying something like that. So, and I
What
know
was the
zero
product
is
you
a very
sell?
powerful number right now, because the more you have zero in your paycheck, in your bank account, this is how you. But like I said, if it's not something powerful and encouraged to say to your kids, to your student, to your teams, to your people who works with you, just maybe better is not saying anything, because you don't know what's building up
Right,
in their mind.
right. What was the product that you were
Hair
selling?
straighteners and hair extensions.
Oh,
It
okay.
was a very fancy mall in Charlotte. I forgot the name.
Talking about the mall South Park Mall.
South Park
South
Mall.
Park.
Yeah.
Right.
South Park Mall. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the out of the mall, that's the biggest mall they got. Yeah, that is the fanciest one.
Yeah.
Um yeah, saying that to somebody you'll lose it because you didn't sell anything doesn't mean anything. I remember when I started selling cable. Well, I sold before. I sold when I was selling cable when I was in Atlanta, and I did very well. But when I came to Columbia, South Carolina to sell, they don't allow technicians to sell cable. You can't. They didn't have that like they did in Atlanta with Comcast. Whereas I was a technician, that was my field. I knew how to install. Doing that helped me sell better. But I had to take off the installation hat, the technical part, and just sell.
Hmm.
So, and I was doing it over the phone, which was new to me. I'm a good salesperson if we're standing in front of each other, but on the phone, talking to someone, not seeing their facial expressions and getting the vibe, it was tough over the
Yeah.
phone. And a lot of times the people calling in were calling in for something else, and you had to turn it into a sell. So it took me probably 60 days to get acclimated to that type of environment, and I was doing horrible. And then they had all these rules. I had to throw all the rules out. To win, I had to throw all the rules out of the window and kind of just do what I knew best and did it. And I mean, my sales went through the roof after I did that. And then I went out into the field, back to face, but no technical. I can only sell it. Because my selling point was I could sell it and do it right there on the spot.
Hmm.
That was easy. But I couldn't have to wait for somebody to come install it. So I went like 2 days without selling. And they kept sending emails. Oh, you didn't sell anything today. You didn't sell it. Oh, I know I didn't sell. I don't need you to remind me that I didn't sell anything. But once I started selling, I became the top seller. Once I got acclimated to the environment, doesn't mean because in the beginning you don't do well, doesn't mean you're not going to do good. You're just getting acclimated to just it's tough in a mall environment trying to stop people and sell stuff to them. They're
Hmm.
not, because they already know where they want to go. They don't want anybody really stopping them. And hey, can you come over here? Can you talk about doing all of that? It's kind of that's why those places have a high turnover. The people don't last in those jobs very long because even if they do well, it's just a grueling trying to interrupt people during their day to sell them something.
Hmm.
But what did you do to get over your fear?
I always said to myself, I'm better. I'm better than that person that just told me right now I'm a loser. I'm not a loser. Maybe he's a loser because I didn't make money for his business.
Right.
So I didn't win, but he didn't win either.
How
So
much was
I
he
always,
selling?
I'm sorry?
How much was he selling?
He didn't sell anything. He's the owner. I was the
But that's
only
my
one by my,
point.
right.
I can
So he didn't
guarantee
sell
you, if he
anything.
took your spot, he would never be able to sell because he's not a seller.
Nope, he's not
But
the
if
seller.
he was a seller, he wouldn't have ever called you a loser. If he was a
Right.
guy who knew how to sell things, already know you don't motivate your people by saying stuff like that. Like if I had a
Mhm.
team of people I was selling, I wouldn't, hey, look at what they didn't do, because now you're focusing their mind on the loss and not the win.
Right.
You know, you get their mind off of, hey, forget about that. You know, this is part of the business. You're really looking for one or two yeses anyway. You just got it. The more people you're talking to, you're going to eventually sell something. You just
Mhm.
got to get used to talking to people. And really, you're just learning how to deal with rejection. That's the real learning thing there. Deal with your fear of rejection.
Mhm.
And once you get over the fear of rejection, you can do anything. It doesn't matter what they say. You just hear it goes in one ear and out the other, and you keep going.
Right.
And you know, that's the fear.
So
Fear of
guess what I did
rejection.
the next
Yeah.
day?
What?
I came the next day and I sold over $2,000 worth of inventory. And at
What?
the end of the day, I called him and I said, don't you ever call me a loser again.
He probably thinks that motivated you.
He thought so, but
Right.
what motivated me that I'm better than that.
Proving
I
him.
know I'm good of what I'm doing. It's just one day is not gonna define who I am because I sold zero sale. It
Was
doesn't
it
mean
your first
anything.
day or?
No, I was doing it for a while. It's just I came to help a friend, and it wasn't my first day. It just though I don't know what happened that day. I guess
Okay.
maybe I wasn't focused or I don't know, but I just could I didn't sell that day. Usually I sell 2,000 and up,
Okay.
$2,000 of selling up, but this day. So again, if you
That
don't have any
had a bad day.
special as a, I'm sorry.
You just had a bad day. Just
I
wasn't
just
your day.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But that's not how you motivate your people.
Right.
If you're a team leader or even if a manager,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to the people to you want to show them that they can, that's not the way of saying
Right.
to someone you're a loser, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the way to how do you say it, train your people to
No, you
get the
don't treat
result that you are looking
all of
for.
them losers because, first of all, some people just not built to handle. They take that personal and they'll quit right there on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then some people get angry and want to fight. You know, it just depends on that person and what their level of tolerance for that type of treatment is. So you gotta be very
Mm-hmm.
careful. I mean,
Right.
I've handled teams of 20 guys at a time, and that's a lot to manage in sales. And everybody's different. The tough talk I can give to one guy, I can't give it to the next guy
Right.
because their personal experience. And there's some people you don't have to talk to at all. They just go out there and do it.
Yeah.
You leave them alone. But so
If you can pull up Timothy 1 verse 7 and
is it First
then
Timothy or
second.
Second Timothy? Timothy 1:7.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know that. I'm very familiar with this one. I'll share the screen. There it is. You see it?
I don't see it, but
Oh, I'm sharing the screen right now.
oh, okay.
It says, for the Spirit of God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. I think this is a different version. Let's change it because it says not because I know in some versions it says not, you don't get the spirit of fear.
So I got for God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That's from
Yeah, that's in the King James version.
yeah.
Yes. Yep. He didn't. Our God consciousness doesn't give us that.
Nope.
Yeah.
So once you know who you are and where you come from, you know how
Yeah.
powerful you are.
So if you have the spirit of fear, then that comes from somewhere else. Then
Right.
not good.
Right.
But
Or you can pull up Isaiah 35 4.
Isaiah 35:4.
Yeah. It's also talk about be strong, fear not.
All right, Isaiah 35. Where is it? 4. Verse 4, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. It
Can
says,
you
say to those who are fearful hearted, be strong, do not fear. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, with the recompense of God, he will come and save you. Did I read the one you wanted?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. It says, do not be fearful.
Be strong.
Be strong, do not fear.
Right. So those kind of really got me to understand that you are strong and powerful, and once you shut down all those external voices and people and toxic influences, I call them, that's when you gain your power again, and you know that the fear is outside of you, it's not within. So you are powerful and strong. So I think that's kind of
Yeah.
got me in the last, I think, 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
that I got to know who I am more and know who and getting to know myself better. So it's powerful once you know again
This is
where you
our
are.
what? 4th show? 5th?
We started February 1st, I think.
February 1st. So it's about the 5th show.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel now versus the first time you did this?
Much better.
See, and that's after doing just 4 shows. You're on the 5th show, right? So it's
Yeah.
not as bad as that fear of expectations. You didn't know what to expect. Doing it's just really not that bad.
Mm-mm.
Talking, and as you do it more, it'd be like second nature. You just be like, okay, you'll get to the point where you already, you could just flow right in, and then you
Right.
start creating more and more from that. And that's just 4. This is the 5th show. 4 going on 5 shows. That
Mm-hmm.
shows it doesn't take that long to get over a fear.
Mm-mm.
It really doesn't. You probably was over the fear by the time you got to the 3rd show. 3rd show was like, okay, now I'm excited to do it every week. You see, and that's the handicap that cripples people. That they get crippled by that is they don't start.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just get right in there to get over that period of getting acclimated and realizing this is not so bad.
Right.
Right? So that's what I always encourage people. Stop thinking about how bad it might be and just do it. Stop just get in there and just do it. Oh, but it's got this, this and that. It's just they make so many limiting excuses in their head and they haven't even tried it. Another example is when you're about to do something that you think is a good idea and you tell other people, "Oh, be careful, you know this and you know that." And it's just they just push all of their fears of off on you.
Mm-hmm.
I see parents doing it to their children, especially around, you know, the 12th grade. They fear that their kids won't make it in this world. So they push them into jobs and before they really even know what they really want to do. Go get a job, just make you some money, get some money in, and next you know you're trapped in this job and you're not anywhere near where you really wanted to be. And then 10 years go by quick.
Right.
And you like still doing this. But that's how most people get out there into these situations with these careers, what they call careers or jobs. They just get in there just to make them some money because they were in fear of not being able to make money. So they jump into these situations. Then they get into relationships and have children, and the children force them to stay in those situations because now they have to take care of another mouth to feed. Most people are in situations because of fear of not being able to take care of themselves. They're in these job situations because they fear the alternative of let me just do something and build and work and become self-sufficient. No, I'll just get this. This is easier. Apply for this job and let them take me and make me a slave. You know.
Yep. My father always used to tell me, like, find a job that you're gonna have security, benefits, retirement, and on and on and on. And this is what they keep
Be
telling
like
me
him.
since I know. Right.
He wants
Yeah.
he wants you to be like him. He wants you to be safe and secure like he is. But here's the funny part. He wasn't. He never felt safe. I could promise you if you asked him or could ask him. I don't know. Is he still alive today?
Yeah.
If you just ask him, do you really feel safe and secure that everything's going to be all right in the future for you? I guarantee you he's living in some type of quiet desperation of something might go wrong to take all of what he already built.
Right.
See, that's not safe and secure. That mental thought that creeps up is not a safe and secure thing.
Right. I agree with you. But when you grow up like that, and that's all you hear, and about your grades, and they need to be good because when you finish, and you know what they told me, and I remember, if you're not gonna get good grades, you're not gonna be able to graduate. And I think that part kind of really scared me, like, oh, I'm not gonna graduate from school, and oh my God, what's going to happen? What's gonna other people gonna say about me, because I was already the outcast person. So I was like afraid of what people gonna say about me and
Right.
how they're gonna see me or judge me. It was not that I was judging myself. And like you said, people don't want to start something because they afraid of the first step, but also what other people say about them because they're judging themselves. They
Right.
think that you are good. God created you in his image, and you have all this creativity in you, and your powerful mind. Once you shut down everything around you, you're going to be able to see everything with your inner eye, with your spirit eye, and with everything inside of you. It's not the physical. That's why it's so powerful when you get to that point of actually doing it and sit with yourself. And it's funny because the last few days all I'm doing is just writing some stuff down, what I want to do, how I want to do. I haven't be able even to create any content because that's something told me, like, sit and start writing what is that you want and how you want it to get done.
Right. So I what has happened that people are so used to um tearing down people's real dreams, they don't know that that's what they're doing. When you tell somebody to come and do it a certain way, you're taking away their ability, or you're robbing them of their ability of being creative for themselves. And that's the problem with outside. A lot of people don't have creativity because they scared. Like I talk to some of the young kids. Talk to them. Oh, I don't really want a job, but I don't know how to make money. I'm like, what do you mean? Don't you have a phone? You don't you have TikTok? You watch all these things. I said, all of those people you're watching are making money. Won't you just do what they're doing? Won't you that cell phone you're holding make it make money? Like TikTok is like one of the, to me, is the best platform because you could add products to your page and endorse that, get money from that.
Right.
And it's so many things you can do to monetize your channel and do it rather quickly than the other platforms. So, and they're trying to ban it. they said it was banned, but it's not really banned. It passed the Senate, I think, and it goes on to the House. They're just what was really happening. They're trying to ban the use of a certain server that they're using. They want them to change that server, and if they don't, then they get banned. But we're talking stuff that's like literally year or 2, 3 years away. If they do it, they're gonna give them 5 years to comply, and
Right.
it's just people making all these videos. Oh, they're gonna ban TikTok. No, in the meantime, go ahead and make some money off of it if they do ban it eventually. But people play video games. If you like to play video, get on there just like all these other people and play the video game while other people watch you and make money at it. People just sit there and watch people play a video game. And all of that watch time is they can get money from that. To me, the ideas are easy, but to people who are living in that program space, in that fear space, they can't see it. They see how hard it is. But it's not hard to fill out an application and get up and go to work every day and take your break at a certain time when they tell you to come to work. You come to work on days you really don't want to work. That's not hard.
Right. That's even harder.
Right. But they do that. Like they do that because they feel that's normal.
Right.
Well, all I got to do is click on my computer, get in front of here, and play with my joystick and keep, whatever game you're playing, and I'm going to get paid from doing hours of that. That's the job. The military is hiring children out of high school to operate drones because of the video games.
Right.
So, like, there was this kid, it was a long time ago. He was not a good, according to school standards, he was very poor, but he was very good at video games. He was one of the first recruits into the program on the Air Force to do drone strikes.
See?
So, because he played video games.
Yeah.
My hang on a second.
I can't hear you. Oh.
No, I had to take that
Yeah.
call. That's my son.
Oh.
He just dropped off a load, and I had to see what was going on.
Oh, okay.
I got to either get him a hotel or he'll come here. I think he's about 3 hours away. Yeah. So there's the fear that most people have is because they are not equipped with the knowledge that they are powerful. Like you knew you could sell. You just had a bad day. But someone come and tried to put that idea in your head that you was a loser. And that's what's wrong with people. They have ideas in their head that's not true. And they believe them. Believe they're not good enough. They believe they can't do this. They believe they can't survive without a 9-to-5 job. They believe that they can survive. He says 4. I don't know what you want to do. Oh, hang on a second. I might have to book him a hotel. But go ahead. You can go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you about if I think that a lot of kids, they're looking up channels that do play video games, and they see they have millions of subscribers and lots of views, but they after like a week of they playing video and they don't see any movement on their channel, they give up.
Courage.
they see that those people started years ago with 0 subscribers, 0 views, but they build themselves up. And I think that
They've been
when
doing
they
it for years.
yes, and then when those kids don't see results, and they probably one of the friend told them, oh, this is not good enough, so they start getting those idea, maybe it's not a good idea to do that channel, and that's what they give up and they stopped.
Right.
So if you have an idea in your head, go and put it out there. It like you said, if it's not gonna work for you, it's gonna work on you, but you know at least what direction and where do you want to take it. But
Right.
if you do what you love and you're doing it and knowing that money is not an issue, like you're doing it for years and money coming to your banking account and it's overflowing, you're gonna start seeing the result. You're gonna start seeing the result. People gonna follow you. People gonna subscribe to your channel. You're gonna have millions of views.
Right.
But you, if this is what you love, this is what you're here to do, just go ahead and do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you talked about what people see other people's successes, that's all they see. They
Mm-hmm.
don't see what got them there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, let's just talk about comedian Cat Williams wasn't always famous. And when you hear his story, it took him time to get there. He worked on he was homeless. Then you
Mm-hmm.
had other people that they weren't always at the top of their game. They just at the top of the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at, especially you look at stars, they don't stay at the top forever. Michael Jackson, one of the greatest artists I think of all time, he didn't stay at the top forever. He got his peak and then he dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
So why? Because you're not putting in as much work as you was when you were really going hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you're gonna get there. You're like, oh, I'm making a lot of money. You're gonna get lazy. You're not gonna do as much. You know, unless you're one of those people that just can keep pushing. So, with anything that you're trying to do, you have to get over that fear of rejection in anything. Like in sales, talking to people and try to get them to buy something. That's rejection. But in like the space of social media, rejection is you're not getting the likes. That's a rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Someone didn't push the like. And here's the thing. A lot of people might like it. They just decide not to push the like. You really have to tell people to push the like for them to
Right.
remember to push the like. It's not like they're doing it on purpose. They just watching them and they moved on to something else and just forgot to hit then they don't think about it. They just move
True.
on. So you can
Right.
say, if you like my contact, please press the like. You have to trigger them to do the like. I noticed that even with my channel, I wasn't asking for the likes. But when I asked for it, people did it. Not
Right.
that they didn't want to like it. It's just that it wasn't something they were thinking. So, so that's, people have to be mindful that the process is, I would never say it's your journey. It's a process. And why I say it's a process, you have to put in things in place and systematically execute those processes to get to the success.
Mm-hmm.
The people say a journey could take you anywhere. It's a process. It's a system you must create and work on it and perfect it over time. And as you perfect it, it gets better, and you see how the growth of your project goes with you working out that process. And then that takes away the fear, because now you can predict where your next moves are gonna be.
Right. I
You
like
see,
when it's a process. Take it as a process. I like it.
yeah. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's a journey." Yeah, no, life is not a journey. Life is a process in a system, and when either you work in a system that was given to you
Mm-hmm.
from your parents or whoever programmed you as a child, or you go and adopt a system that works for you.
Right.
You go find a system and make it work for you, that where you feel whole in what you're doing. Most of us, and I know I've been through it, you were doing things and you didn't feel whole. And the reason why you didn't feel whole because it's not your system. It's their system. It's what they wanted you to do. What the church said you had to do. What the church told you God said you have to do.
Right.
A lot of really holier than thou staunch Christian people or religious people. I don't Christians. I'm gonna say I'm picking on them, but that's most people I deal with. They love to say it's God's will. It's God's will, and whatever his will is, you got to go with that. And that is one of the biggest lies. God's will is for you to live your life as if you already know who you are. That's it. That's the will. That they, oh God this and God, they just take so much power. Wait on God. God gave you the power. He gave you 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs to be able to get up and move. And all of the senses gave you everything to be able to manifest what you want, how you want it. And a lot of the religious folks don't like it when I say that God didn't tell me what you're telling me. You're telling me God said that.
Right.
I don't hear God saying nothing of what you're saying. They don't like hearing that. Well, God did. Well, God, see, listen, if there is a God, if the God is tweaking, he's speaking to you, not to me. God speaks to everyone individually. That God
Right.
voice comes to you on an individual's place, and you'll know it when you hear it, because it's a voice like no other. That it's a voice that does, when you hear it, you don't question it, and you know it. It's not a belief, it's a knowing.
Right.
And that's the problem with religious folk. They believe. I believe. That believe means there's a possibility that it's not true.
True.
Right. So, and also LIE is in that word believe. So is the word evil. And all of those are in there. So it's knowing. Like, I know. No one can tell me what the
Right.
activities of it, but I know what spoke to me that day. I know what I experienced. I know the visions. I know. No one can tell me anything. I can't speak to someone else's visions. I can't speak to someone's God voice. I can just say, you need to go find it and listen. That's what's going to tell you the truth.
Right.
And although a lot of people don't want to admit it, that voice is talking to them and they ignore it. And then how they know what that voice is talking to them, they ignore it. They get in problems when they don't listen. They have problems.
True. Yeah.
Like, oh, I knew it. You over here, I knew it. Something told me,
but I didn't. Right.
That was the God voice telling them not to do it.
True.
Something told me. They always identify it as something. The something is the God in you talking to you. That's something. That's what that something is. Let's call it out. Just stop talking about that something. I knew it. I just knew it. I shouldn't have. Yeah, you shouldn't have, because you was warned. Take responsibility. Yeah.
You know, I have a download right now, and I'm thinking, let me see. I'm gonna share it. So for years, you know, the Jewish religion, we have it's a 2 days, so 25 hours that we are fasting.
Right.
Once a year. And I used to go to the synagogue every year as a kid, listening to all the prayers and everything for hours and hours and hours until we break the fast. But I remember they always told me, like, this is the time when you are talking to God and you ask forgiveness about everything that you did in the last year. Now I was a little bit confused because forgiveness from what? I didn't do anything wrong. Right. I didn't steal, I didn't cheat, I didn't do anything wrong. And when I got to start to know myself better and who I am, I was asking myself, why do I need 25 hours to talk to God and ask forgiveness. And if I won't do that, so something might happen to me, right? This is what they tell me. If God within me and I talk to him every single day and he guides me every single day, I tune in with him every single day. I don't need the 25 hours not to eat, not to drink, not to watch TV, not to drive, and everything around it to tune in with him and ask forgiveness. So I broke the record that I think from 12 years old, and I think 2021 is when I broke the record and I said I'm not fasting anymore. Nothing happened to me. I'm actually better. Like I'm doing much better.
Right.
Nothing happened to me. No devil came to me. No bad things. Like I am good. I'm grateful. I have my gratitude every day. I'm talking to God within me every single day. And those kind of fears that they put into you when you're a kid, if you don't do this, God might.
That is.
But you know what's funny? People still do it every year. They fasting for 25 hours. They ask for forgiveness. They don't eat. They don't drink. But then a week, a month after, they're doing all some kind of like sorry dumb stuff. But they said, oh, when time will come, I'll ask forgiveness from God. He's gonna forgive me, and I can move on. So
It
all year round, you're doing stuff and he said, oh, this year this 25 hours will help me
will fix
to
all of
get
yeah.
right.
25 hours gonna fix 363 days of screwing up, huh? So
So I had to share
don't
that. It just came to me, and it's the truth. It's the truth.
right.
And if you don't like hearing it, it's true, because you can't tell me there's only 2 days a year that I can ask God forgiveness or tune in with him and talk to him, and then everybody's saying after the fast that they feel so powerful, that they feel like they, I don't know, they're very, very powerful person. And I'm like, you should feel that every single day because you are God.
Right. Right.
I said that. I said it out loud.
Right. So they create these systems. That's another system. Just like I
Mhm.
said, you need to create a system for yourself. That's a system. You pray. Is that what that the Day of Atonement? Is that what it called? That
Yom Kippur.
Yom
It's
Kippur.
yeah, it usually come September or October.
Right.
Yeah.
So they create these systems for you to follow.
Hmm.
And all year long, you're going through doing whatever you want to do, waiting for this day to fix all of that. And it doesn't even work that way because what you do, how you present yourself prior is what you're going to get back in the future.
Hmm.
What you invest in is what you're going to get back. That one day is not going to undo all of that,
Right.
you know? So it just shows the empty spirituality. And it's also spiritual bullying. Like, you do this or you're gonna have these bad things. And you don't know that. I mean, you don't know the I was like that when I was a kid. I was worried about that God was watching every little thing I did. Just worried. And
Hmm.
if I do this, God, because that's what was preaching. God, you gotta don't bring reproach on God and don't bring reproach on us. And there's all of this things. Whatever you do, you're representing God and this and that. And then then I did a few of those things, and I was like, afraid. And then
Yeah.
as time went on, nothing happened, and I kept repeating itself. Then I just realized, why are you sitting here worried about something that's never going to happen? And
Right.
then that's when I started to be able to separate that it's people telling me this. This is not what God actually said.
Hmm.
Talk to me. Like they blame everything on the devil. The devil this, the devil is a liar. He's this and that. Wait a minute. I never had a conversation with this devil y'all talking about. When I decided to do something I wasn't supposed to do, I made the decision on my own. So people are living in fear that God is going to do something evil, bad to them,
Hmm.
And he's not even thinking about that. This God is not even paying attention to anything of these things.
Right.
It made God sound so petty.
Yep.
He's that petty. Yet you want us to forgive everybody, but God is not going to be forgiving.
Mm-mm.
If,
See.
you know, he's going to come and he's going to wipe everybody out that didn't listen, that didn't
Right.
follow his instructions. Well, if that's the case, I mean, man been wiped out 100 times over by now.
Right.
Nobody follows just instructions. Yeah. All right. That's all
So
I have for now.
just a quick, maybe I share that if you going into something that you don't know what's going to happen, or like you have that fear of the first step. First of all, this is what I did and still do, is just saying to myself, okay, I know I have this fear about going into that business, let's say, for
Right.
example. So I acknowledge it. I'm not trying to hide it, because the more you're going to ignore it, it's gonna get
Right.
might get worse later. But then I've learned this breathing technique. When you breathe and you hold, when you breathe for a second, you hold for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 4 seconds. It will
Right.
help you get back your focus back to right now and what is that you need to do. And
Right.
then you visualize myself success in that business, and how I'm confident, and I do my public speaking, and or any business that you go into. And then you take small steps. Don't try
Right.
to take these big steps and like, oh, I'm gonna do it. Take small steps and slowly towards reaching your goal, and that will help you
Mhm.
become stronger and fearless. And your I am also going to help you become more confident and get to know yourself, and you're going to have a really high self-esteem.
Right.
So those are the steps that I'm taking. And if you have someone that you can trust, share their fears with them. Those that not going to tell you, what are you afraid of, you're not this, you know. No, those that are going to listen to you and only listen to you.
Right.
So if you know someone that you can trust, that's actually great to have someone in your corner.
Right. And if you don't trust in yourself, become self-reliant, because even if you do find someone that you can trust, they may not be available at times
Mm-hmm.
to you. So
Yeah.
that's where you have to become strong within yourself.
Yeah.
That no matter what, you can push through that fear.
Yeah.
Because to always rely on someone to bring you out of it is just not going to be. That's not going to cut it.
Right.
That's called codependency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
All right.
still
So
need to figure
good
out
stuff.
one more thing. Yeah, the
Yeah.
the word confidence, I think, come from. I still need to research, but it comes from the word confine, which is trust.
Right.
And when you trust yourself, like you said, I just want to say that
Mhm.
confidence. When you have confidence within yourself and you trust yourself, no one, but no one can tell you you cannot. You're just gonna keep moving forward, and you're gonna make it happen. Either your business, your habit, idea, anything that you just have, and you want to put it out there, and
Right.
that's it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Another good topic. Another showdown for the books. I guess until next week. You have
Yeah.
an idea what you're going to talk about next week?
Something tell me something about ego, but I need to marinate it a little bit more. This is it's a big
Ego,
topic.
that's a big topic.
Yeah.
I
So
think
we'll see.
everybody's plagued with that ego problem.
Yeah.
All right. So fears.
Yeah.
It's nothing to fear but fear itself.
Hmm.
Fear is it's an idea, it's an illusion of what might go wrong, or what might not be right, or what people might say about you. And if they do say something about you, who cares? You know?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Till next week. I'll see you guys on Sunday in Sunday Inspiration. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all. Good night.
Peace.
All right. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all you guys.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent it, the information station.